Oh, it's still crooked. Oh, okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so happy Monday. Today is December the 16th, and I feel really good. I had an amazing weekend, relaxing weekend, and I completely came prepared to talk on this live because we're going to have some conversation about homeschooling while homemaking or working full time and making time for homeschooling and not being stressed out and all the things. If you want to homeschool your kids, I feel like you can. There are ways you can do it. If you are on, go ahead and just shoot me a good morning. I'm going to start with today's devotion as I do every time I go live, or I try to do every time I go live. And today's devotion is because God loves you. Wait, sorry. I'm reading two at once because on Mondays I get two devotions, which is weird. Because God loves us, He is always instructing and correcting us so that we can prosper in His kingdom. So we must do that which will enable us to prosper in all things. Opportunities will be given, which will present a favorable time for advancement. And so the scripture for today is Proverbs 8, verse 17. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. All right. So today's live is how to balance homeschool while working, while being a homemaker, whatever it is that you're doing. And you may feel like you do not have time to homeschool your kids, and how, you can have proper systems set up for you to be able to homeschool your children and succeed in that. So if you have, like, you've been feeling like the school system is failing your kids, or you feeling like, hey, you're being pulled to homeschool your kids, I'm telling you that you can do it. You can still do it while you're working. You can do it while you have other children in the home, and how to be able to identify your children's different learning styles so that you can cater to their specific needs while they are learning. Um, so yeah, that's what today's live is going to be about. And I'm so excited because I was one of those people who felt like I could not homeschool my kids and work a full-time job, where I will, of course, sometimes people like me have help, like a spouse that can help, but then there are some moms who don't have that. And so I still feel either way, you can still balance it and still homeschool your kids, even if you are a single mom. Do not count yourself out, please. All right, so who's on with me? Give me a wave. I see four people are watching. All right, so I'm just going to say, in the beginning, we started homeschooling in 2016, and the story of which how we started homeschooling, I'll just give y'all a quick run through of that. We moved away from St. Pete, Florida, which we felt that the school system there was truly dedicated to the kids. It was dedicated to them learning. It was dedicated to them, thinking outside of the box. Good morning. And it really catered to things like different programs for them. Of course, that's when I was introduced to STEM, magnet programs. It was a lot of things that I was like introduced to, that where I came from, I didn't see a lot of these different programs catered to kids with culinary, who wanted to go down the road with nursing and all these things, right? So I feel like that was pretty much our, like, the best the best school experience that we had with our kids. But then we left and we went and moved to the suburbs. We left the city, we moved to the suburbs, and things were much, much different. Whereas we quickly learned that what our kids were learning in the suburbs, they had already learned like a year ago. And so we were like, oh my gosh, it was such a like a slap in the face, because Zuri, to be particular, was one of those kids that was like, I already know this stuff. Like, they're teaching me something that I already know, and so that he would not be interested. And so it got to the point where we would bring him home after school. I'm working a full-time job. His dad's working a full-time job from home, and I was working outside of the home at the time. And we would come home or get off work and have to teach him. And so the best way we knew how to teach him was how we learned how to, learned in the 80s and in the 90s. As far as math, it was repetition. We completely changed everything on how, like, they started Common Core at this time, and we were just like, we don't understand Common Core math. But we knew how math was taught to us, so we started teaching him math the way we learned math. And so things were starting to click for him, and he was just like, "Oh, this is like amazing." So one day, um, we had a call. I was working in St. Pete, driving back and forth about 45, 50 minutes one way, and I got a call from his teacher and was like, "Hey, Zuriel decided to put his head down on the desk and he's not going to do any more work today." He was frustrated. And I said, she had sent him to the front office. So I called the front office and I spoke to him and I said, "Hey, what's going on with you? Why are you just not participating in class?" And he says, "Well, the teacher told me that the problem that I did was wrong, and I know it's right." And I was just like, trying to understand what he was saying. He was frustrated. So, all this being said, he was learning and doing his math problems based on how we were teaching him to do his math problems at home. And so she was saying, with Common Core math, and you have to follow steps and rules to get to the answer. But because he wasn't following the steps and the rules that she had taught in the classroom, that his answer was wrong. And so for him, he wasn't thinking like, "Oh my goodness, um, the answer is the answer at the end of the day." So I had to go back and set up a parent teacher conference. My husband and I went both at the same time, and she sat us down and she basically showed us his math. Good morning, Lady Shan. So she basically showed us the problem. My husband is like super advanced in math, and when she showed us the problem on the board, like, she had the whiteboard, she was at the whiteboard doing the problem, and she comes to the answer. Good morning, Quamisha. We kind of watched her do this math problem, and we were sitting there dumbfounded. We were like, "Why are y'all doing all of these extra steps? Y'all are making these kids do these extra steps to get to the same answer." It just didn't make sense to us. And so we were like, "Yeah, no." So she kind of pleaded with us and was like, "I understand." She's like, "I understand. I agree with y'all, but this is how the state requires us to teach it. And this is how they have to learn, Common Core math." And we were like, "Well, we don't like Common Core math. Our concern is not him learning Common Core math. Our concern is him learning math and being confident in what it is that he is learning." And so you as the teacher need to understand that at the end of the day, there is, we don't believe in the no child left behind. No, we can't move on until it's time for him, until he feels confident with what he's learning. Because what they were doing, good morning, Angelica. So what they were doing is, if the children are not learning at the pace that they are teaching, they would just move on. So the kids are not really understanding what it is that they're learning. They're not giving the kids time to actually learn. And that's what really no child left behind is they'll just go ahead and move on without actually, testing the kids to make sure that they, are doing things the right way, or that they are confident in what it is that they're learning. So I just remember this so vividly, because this was when my husband was like, "We're going to put in our intent to homeschool." And this was like December. This was December of 2015. So we sent an intent to homeschool during Christmas break, and they sent us a letter back letting us know, "Hey, great. We got your intent to homeschool, which you do have to do in your district. And so they chopped it up as if he was being homeschooled at that time. Well, that's not what was going on. So we continued to let him go to school. And then another situation came up. We were for 3 months still until March, because March we had spring break. So up until March, we were still sending him to school and still teaching him after school, after work. And then so about 2 weeks before spring break, we got a letter sent home to us basically saying, hey, we want to test your son. So the way that the letter was worded, we thought that he was going to get tested to go into um, like advanced classes. And so we were like, oh, great. We will go ahead and get him tested, blah, 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 blah. And a week later, we got a letter basically saying that they were going to put him in special education classes. And y'all, just imagine the way me and my husband felt. Like it was like literally a punch in the face. And so we immediately jumped on the phone, immediately got the teacher involved, the testing educator involved, the principal and the assistant principal involved, basically letting them know that we felt that they were doing some very underhanded things, that he was not special ed. And if anything, they are not able to keep up with the kids, their learning style. And when these kids need more work to do, because he's fine, right? So it's like, where did y'all come up with thinking that y'all were going to test him for special education? And they just kind of was, and then basically the answers that they were giving us, we were not having it. So we took it a step further. We went to the superintendent of the county, the education system, and literally got everybody on the phone. So by the last day, the Friday before spring break was supposed to start, we basically just hashed it out. And at this point, we said, as far as we're concerned, he's unenrolled in school. And he never went back. He never went back. And so that put me in a stinker because I was afraid. First of all, I wasn't ready, mentally ready. That entire school year, we got to the end of the school year, he finished out, at home. But the next school year, so the 2016-27 school year, 2016-17 school year, I was like a deer in headlights. I was not prepared for homeschool. I just thought maybe they keep, the same schedule. I was at this point working a 12 to 9 shift. And then so my schedule changed at work. So I was like, I'm gonna get them school ready in the mornings before I have to like get them up early before I have to like go to work. I would leave my house at 11:30 or something. Yeah, it was a mess. I was so discouraged. I was so stressed out. Um Thankfully I had friends who were homeschooling as well, who were able to kind of hold my hand through the process and get me to understand that when you homeschool, you do not have to go. I was thinking I had to go by the school schedule. I had to take the breaks when the school schedule was taking breaks. I was doing everything based off of a school schedule. Like they start school at 7 until 2 o'clock or whatever. No, none of that. I stressed myself out that first year because I just went into this blindsided without doing a whole lot of, um, looking into what it will require to homeschool. At this time, my daughter's not in school yet. And so it was just him. And I said, well, if I'm going to homeschool him, I'm going to go ahead and just start her early. She was still in VPK. She was in VPK at the time. And I was just like, my husband was like, you need to calm down. I was stressed out. I believe that's where most of my grades are coming from when we started homeschooling. But anyway, needless to say, it got better. I want to say by the third year, I was like floating on a cloud. And so one of the things I want to say during this live is like when you are homeschooling your kids and you're working a full-time job, or let's just say you're a single mom, or whatever it is that you feel like I can't do this, I'm just gonna give y'all a rundown of the different type of schedules that we had throughout the entire time we homeschooled so far. Again, in the beginning, I kind of stuck with a traditional schedule, kind of followed what the schools were doing. And so whatever I could not finish when I left for my job at 11:30, my husband would pick up. So he was a great backup for me in the beginning. And then I want to say by year 3, we completely changed our schedule to where the kids started school. They only did school 4 days a week, and then they did a Saturday. And then we changed it to where they would start school at 1 o'clock from 1 to 5. And that was the most amazing school year for us. Then we started school where they would have Monday through Friday, half day. Monday through Friday, half day on Fridays. And we would do like field trips. And so what I'm trying, and then we would do 3 weeks on for 1 month and 1 week off that last week of the month for the whole year. We've also done year round schooling with more breaks in between. We've done it all. So I even have friends who work full time who homeschool their kids at night when they get home, and that's when they do school. Or they only do school on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, and they don't do any school during the week. So you can make homeschool whatever it is that you want to make it, as long as your kids are getting the information that they need. And you can quickly find that with just a quick Google search, whatever that is. Um, so I want to say, whenever you're looking into their homeschool curriculums, you do not have to go by a set curriculum. You can get all of their information right off of Amazon. It is expensive when you're trying to dedicate a homeschool curriculum to just like a Becca or all these things. People will sell you a dream when it comes to these homeschool curriculums. And you have to, at the end of the day, do what works for you in your household. It is, no household is going to be the same, right? So with that being said, we did like full complete the thick books at Amazon. I'll link some of them down in the description of this. Good morning, Caroline. Of this video this live once it's over. And then during the summer months, we would do Summer Bridge, which is another just a little workbook that the kids can work out of, and they would do just 1 page a day. Most of our learning, I would say, you have YouTube at your fingertips. There are so many different resources that you can use. Education.com, which is a 1 year fee of like, I think $59, but for the first year that you sign up for education.com, you get half off, I believe. Um, where you get all your printables, you get your whole lesson plans, everything in one place, and you can follow along. Now, each year you do have to have a homeschool evaluator, and you can just basically pick your homeschool evaluator however you want. It could be an actual certified teacher that evaluates your kids, and all they're doing is looking at different pieces of paper, like work that they've done throughout the year. Not everything. We'll just say for the first semester, you're going to give the evaluator 5 samples of work completed, and then the same for the second semester for language arts. And you're going to do the same for science, social studies, and math. And basically, they just want to see the work done. Once done or is being done, they will then talk to the kids for a brief moment and then say to the district or the school that handles the homeschool files, just send a letter directly to them to say, hey, this child in your system who is being homeschooled is being promoted to the next grade. You do not have to wait a full school year to promote your child. So if your child has completed the coursework in less than a school year, then you can go ahead and promote them. That's why you see a lot of homeschool kids. They are being promoted and learning at such a faster pace than regular school age kids. Quamisha, good morning. You said, my husband and I have been praying about homeschooling. My reservations are my own patience. I understand. I don't, there, Quamisha, what I want you to understand is that there's nobody in the world who homeschool that has patience. I am one of them. I do not have patience to homeschool my kids. But I do tend to understand that one of the sole reasons of my kids being homeschooled is the fact that I understand that they are not perfect. And I want my homeschool experience for my kids to be a safe experience where they have as much time as possible to mess up, to start over again, repetition as long as they need. And they're like, I don't move my daughter forward in her math until she's confident. And so if she's doing the same fifth grade math, good morning, April, she's doing fifth grade math, even though she's in the sixth grade, because she's just not confident to move forward. And that's just the reality of it. And that's why I love homeschooling, is because you don't get to move at the pace of the school system. You move at the pace of your child. And you said having multiple littles who aren't school age yet and just balance other household responsibilities. That's what we're going to talk about today, how to balance all of that all at once. So one of the things about your kids is that when you're homeschooling your oldest daughter, and let's just say you have the three underneath her, is that you include them in their own style of learning as well. Like, don't leave them hanging just because you are homeschooling your oldest daughter. There are so many resources out there to get them acclimated to loving to learn. Right now, Zoran, we only do 30 minutes. So I have focused on, oh, I forgot to tell y'all this. When we homeschooled elementary, we would focus on one subject a day. So math would be on Mondays. The only thing we would do every day was pretty much language arts, because that included spelling words. And what my daughter had to do was, with her spelling words, she had to write them on Monday 3 times each. On Tuesday, she had to write the definitions of the spelling words. On Wednesday, she had to write sentences with the spelling words. On Thursday, she would have to write like sentences 3 times each. I want to say do some vocabulary. And then, so on Thursday, she would have to study for her spelling test on Fridays. And we would do half day Fridays. And the only thing we would do is reflect on the week's work. Anything that they were having trouble with or needed like some additional instructional time. All your kids, just give them something different to do than your daughter. Zorn is not supposed to start school based on the school system until next year, because his birthday is after September the 1st. But we were like, no, he's starting this year. You can start them whenever you want to start them. He started school this year. He's already learning. He's reading. He knows some math. He knows everything about every planet in the solar system. Y'all already know that. He is a fast and quick learner. And so I'm not going to stifle his learning just because the school system said he was born a week after September the 1st. Like, I'm not waiting. Good morning, Miss K. So one of the ways that I tend to kind of structuralize and balance homeschool for us, like I said, now my kids are older, they're much more independent, and this is literally the only hour I can commit to going live, because they start school at 11. Um, and so I want you to understand, like, I sit with them, but more so at the end of their homeschool day. They're hands-on. My daughter is on timeforlearning.com and my son is on study.com. So they have, systems in place for them to be able to learn independently, where I don't have to constantly be stuck at their side for the entire time that they're doing school, which is very helpful to me, because that's where I feel like Zorn needs a lot more of my time. And with your in Time for Learning, actually, my husband and I just talked about it last night. Time for Learning actually has um like early learning preschool curriculum. So we're gonna go ahead and get him started on that. Now he's 4. So yeah, think about it. I will let you know. We started out with Time for Learning um in 2017, but we still supplement with a lot of the stuff that we find on Amazon, which is way more affordable for us. So don't put yourself in a box when it comes to educating your kids, and make sure that you get out and do something fun. Like education is not just in the house, like it's outside too. And that's something I'm still learning because I will stay stuck in the house and not. Oh, okay. You all right? Okay. My husband again is more strong in math and science, and I'm more strong in history and language arts. Well, he's strong in that all that stuff too, but that's something I can take on so that he's not doing a lot of the work on his own. Now he does work during the week, so he does Bible with them on the weekends, and they literally sit down and work for an hour doing math on Saturdays. So it makes up. All I do is provide them with the work or let them do the work, and then on the weekends we kind of hash it out and make sure that they are covered. All right. So here's the question about today. How do you know if you are ready to homeschool, if you should homeschool? I want to say the question that needs to be asked is how is your school system? Like you can put it down in the comments. Do you feel like you want to keep your kids there for any reason in the school system as it sits today? For me, I am happy that we started homeschooling because I feel like my kids are more safer in more ways than one. Safe because one of the things is um I'm gonna just be honest because I feel like sometimes I have to watch what I say. But I'm gonna say it because about my kids, I don't play. I don't play about my kids. I don't play about them being respectful and everything. I know my children, right? So there were times when they were in school, my oldest son especially, where they like would say things that he would do. And I would immediately know if he did it or not because I know him. And his teachers would be like, oh, Zadrian, he did XYZ. And I would have to go up to the school and I would say, I would ask him. And I just thank God for the Holy Spirit because sometimes he would lie right in my face. And I'm like, no, that you did it. You did that because that's in your nature to do. Like, don't lie in front of, don't lie because I'm up here because I will show out. Like, I will be up here and I will embarrass you at this school. If you embarrass me at this school, I will embarrass you at this school. And so at that point, when he got into the 10th grade, after he completed the 10th grade, we pulled him out of school because he wasn't getting his head on right. And he finished school at home. My oldest daughter did pre-K and is currently in kindergarten. Okay. Is she at school or is she at home? I'm already noticing just how much she learns from other students. Exactly. So here's the thing. I'm not big on bullying. I'm not big on being disrespectful or disrespected. I think everybody deserves some grace. A lot of these teachers today do not understand what grace is when it comes to these kids. These kids are not perfect. A lot of these kids come from broken homes, just a whole system within itself. And the kids also are very disrespectful. Like I'm not like oblivious to how kids misbehave. My only concern is my kids. Like my children and how they behave in school or out in public is 100% my concern and my responsibility. So, being that I just know how my kids learn, my son, Zuri, he is the type that likes to be hands on. He likes to be up doing things, and that's just how he learns. My daughter is just like her daddy. She can sit still, she can focus, she can do her work, she will read, she will not get too easily distracted, but my son does. And so I just feel like it would be a disservice of a child that's super distracted all the time to sit in a class with 20 other kids where he's not really learning. At this point, she's just babysitting him. I get to control like his break times, and like right now we say you finish a class or a subject, you get up, you go outside, shoot some hoops, right? Come back in the house, then go and start math. Do the same thing. Then when you finish with math, start and fix you some lunch. Like we get to control the flexibility of him. We know that he just can't sit for a long period of time. And that's just the reality of who he is. Um, Yeah, none of that. We ain't doing none of that. I just am I'm a stickler when it comes to my kids because I know how I'm raising them, right? So you're not finna come up to them and bully them. I'm gonna shoot you right with your mama. Like, don't talk about me because I'm gonna talk about your mama. Like the 80s in me come out. Like it comes all the way out. I have zero tolerance for bully. I have zero tolerance for peer pressuring kids. Like my kids, I tell them all the time, I was never peer pressured into doing anything when I was in school. Everything I did because I wanted to. And when I didn't want to, I didn't do it. Was nobody was going to step to me and tell me what I was going to do or what I wasn't going to do. That just wasn't my reality. And so for them to be easily influenced at school is a dead no. There's no excuse. Nobody's running this show but me and your daddy. Accountability and them having self-control is number one in at home or at school. And right now he's doing two classes at his school, and that's just giving him a little bit of freedom to be able to play sports and do whatever he want to do at the high school. So right now I do not feel like the education system is beneficial to my kids returning to a public school system full time. I do see a lot of similarities in school to in prison. I used to work in a prison. I was a correctional officer for 3 years at a prison, and I literally see the correlation between the two, school and prison. If you guys sit down and just look into it, it's kind of scary. And so, whereas you don't give your kids the freedom to just like, not to say they got to be out of control, because even in the home, there needs to be some structure. Um, but the whole single file line, the way that they have to eat lunch, the way that they have to sit in an area confined, it's y'all. Just do y'all research on that. So I wanted to take, and my husband wanted to take full authority. Like my husband wanted to homeschool them way before I did because I had, I didn't think I felt like I needed to be smart or, not smart. I don't want to say smart. I just felt like I needed to be like him in order to successfully homeschool our kids. And you do not. You need resources. You need people. You need a black book of people you can contact for help, not necessarily a tutor. You also need a homeschool, not a co op. I don't want to say a co op because I don't like co ops. We've done the co op thing and it's not for us. I know what you mean. I doubt my own abilities. Yeah, I doubted my abilities a lot. But through homeschooling them, I am learning a lot. I'm relearning a lot because the way that the system is set up when we were in school. And let me know when you guys, what year did you guys graduate? I graduated in the year 2000. When I was in school, they literally taught us how to be able to walk right out of high school and into a job. That was how, the school systems were set up. We learned how to do a lot of things in school, like life things, life skills, home economics. That's a course that I'm pushing on my kids every day because life skills is important. Financial education and awareness, that's something that we are going to be implementing in our curriculum for homeschool. You can implement whatever you want when it comes to educating your kids outside of the core four subjects. April, you said you graduated in high school in 2002. Girl, was it a time, girl? It was the best time of my life. I loved school. 1988. Okay, Miss Caroline. Yes. I just had an amazing time. But even back then, I feel like college was like what, $450 like per credit hour. Now is 2006 for you. 1999, Terica. Yeah. Okay, so I went to how many times did y'all go to prom? I went to prom 3 times, my 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year, and I had a ball every single time. I went with my sister, my oldest sister, and her friends. She was the person that was able to get me in because, if you're not 11th or the 12th grader, you can't just go without being invited. So you said 2000, oh, sorry. So I went with them and I had a ball with the girls. Then I went with a date in 11th grade. And it was I just remember this night. It was so cold. Right after prom, I went straight home because it was so cold and I had no jacket on. And he was very respectful. He was a very respectful guy. You went to prom one time. My parents would not allow me to attend proms. Oh, 90s proms was like going to a club. It was so fun. And my 12th grade year, I went to a different school. So I didn't get to go to prom with all my friends and I was kind of sad. So, but I went and I had fun and I just again went home. But yeah, I loved the experience I had. I really want my kids to have those same experiences, which they can. And the good thing about homeschooling, because a lot of people think they don't get to have those experiences. Well, your school system still allows your homeschool child to attend all of those things at their zone school. So look into that. They can still do sports. They can still go to prom. They can still walk across the stage for graduation. They still get to do all the things. You just have to make sure that, you know, that they do it. So talk to a guidance counselor or talk to the homeschool division in your county to get them set up with all of that stuff. So don't think that just because you're homeschooling your kids that they don't get to have access to all the different things that the other kids that go to public school have access to. Um, Let me see. So a part of me getting to the place where I manage my day better is I feel like when they were starting school at 1 o'clock, I would get all of my homemaking done in the morning, which is why y'all saw a lot of my videos only in the morning time. And then after like 1 o'clock, y'all wouldn't really see a lot of stuff, after that. Simply because once my camera was down and once I was done doing whatever I was doing in the morning, my full focus was on the kids. It was on sitting with them. And I don't make homeschool a part of my content for a specific reason that again, I'm not in the business of embarrassing my kids or even doing anything to remotely make them feel uncomfortable. Homeschool time is for them to learn and to focus. So therefore, homeschool will never be a part of not like that. And I might show a little thing or two with Zorn, but it will not be like with the older kids simply because they're trying to focus. One of the appeals of homeschooling is that it can happen whenever and wherever. So one of the things that we love about homeschooling, because my husband traveled a lot, and his travel picks up after like in August until the end of the year. He's less traveling the first part of the year. And we literally would take the laptops and the iPads and wherever he go, we would be in tow and they would still be able to get their schooling done. And that's one of the things that I loved about homeschooling. And you said, and we are also very God led in our lives. Yes, we also we always end moving in obedience. Yes. So one of the things that we started Alpha and Omega curriculum, and that is a Christian curriculum. Not last year, the year before, and we spent almost $400 per child for that curriculum. We got halfway through it. Quamisha, this is for you. We got halfway through it. And my husband was like, we got to stop. We got to stop. He was like, this is not, this is not Bible truth. This is not biblical truth, what they're teaching. And when I tell you, he was so convicted and he was like, I'm going to teach my kids biblical truth. Like if we have to incorporate Bible class, He was like, I'm going to be the person to do it. I'm going to teach them. And midway through the year, we had to completely let the whole curriculum go, which is why I feel like you have to be led in everything that you do. Don't just get on YouTube and be looking up like, what's the best curriculum, because it ain't gonna always be the best. Because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of these curriculums sell you a dream, and it's not gonna always be a good fit for you. And the sad part about it is that you don't get to test out these curriculums before you pay for them, and you're halfway through it, and the conviction comes, and you're like, ooh, yeah, no. And I'm gonna be honest, we're not big on white supremacy teaching. We ain't gonna do that. And we want our curriculum to be truth led, not prosperity led, not into these whatever the world or whatever people make the Bible look like, or however they want to teach it. That's not what we are about, and that's not what we're going to teach our kids. We're going to teach them truth across the board. So yes, girl. And he shut that down. And I was just like, I thought it was great at first, but I wasn't doing the Bible portion. I was doing the history and the ELA. And I would be the fun parent and make sure that they get out the house and go to the library. So I was doing the Spanish, the foreign language stuff. He was doing, hey, you all right? Okay. He was doing the Bible, science, and math portions. And so I was so oblivious to what he was talking about. But then once he said that, I was like, well, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So consider it. Consider schooling your kids to the point where you feel comfortable with it. Get people in your life who are also homeschoolers. Be open to talking to educators. Your kids can go to college and do homeschool. There are homeschool grants. There are homeschool scholarships for you to homeschool your kids, where you actually get to get money. And I'll put all that in the description of this live as well for you if you're looking into it. Now, again, some of the stuff that I'm putting in the description of this live is based on my state, so you do have to do your due diligence and search for homeschool scholarships for your kids in your state, and homeschool requirements as well, because they're not the same for every state. um So, if you were to how many of you are homeschooling? Go ahead and put it in the comments. How many of you want to homeschool but are not homeschooling? Any challenges, cons you face? Yeah. One of the things I faced with homeschooling, I want to say, well, with both of my kids, they in the beginning had a sense of thinking like because they were home, they could just like coast through, or just feel like they could be lazy. But I just had to let them know that that's not what this is. My daughter was very relaxed when it came to reading. She was just being lazy about it. I mean, there are challenges. I don't think anybody don't face any challenges when it comes to homeschooling. Again, it just needs to be, there's a lot of adjustments. Let's just say that you're going to have to adjust. Your kids are going to have to adjust. Um, do you have a dedicated space for school? No. I don't believe in that. I mean, we have a space. They had desks at some point, but to be honest, the freedom of them learning in whatever space they're in, if they're in the car, if they're in the kitchen or the dining room table or on the couch or on the floor or in their room on the bed, we don't set those guidelines. I mean, it's all cute and fancy on the internet, but to be honest with you, one of the things I love about homeschooling is that they have the comfort to learn however and wherever they want. I have two daughters. My oldest was homeschooled until she was 5. And my 3-year old is homeschooling currently. Okay. I'm a homeschooled mom. Hey, Vanita. Good morning. Yeah, so we did that whole dedicated space thing. And I mean, we've tried it. It's like whatever. And I was doing it because that's what I saw everybody else doing. And I was just like, really? it's really just like they just learn however they learn. And again, like I said, Zuri is the one that has to go outside and run, and he needs to burn it off. And um he the funny thing is that he's just like Zoran. Like Zoran's the same way. Zoran, I think it's a boy thing, y'all, to be honest. My boys have not been able to kind of just sit. So I have really just embraced the fact that they learn differently. My sons are 4 and 1.5. I have started a homeschool group. That is awesome. And plan field trips for homeschool families. That's awesome. I think that's great. Since we moved, because we left our homeschool support system in the Tampa Bay area when we moved here, so it's been very hard getting them in a diverse space, because we've tried it here. Good morning, Fancy. We've tried it here, and they're not really welcoming. A lot of people aren't really welcoming here, so I just decided we just going to do our own thing. But I think if my husband was to say we would move back to the Tampa Bay area, they would literally pass out and jump for joy, because that was like their family. Fancy just started homeschooling her kids this year, her tropical home. Let us know how you're doing with homeschooling, Fancy. I saw a mom with a whole room for her homeschooling in her custom built home. Yeah, girl, that's all great. And I immediately had to talk and pray those thoughts of inadequacy away. My daughter, my 3-year-old is busy and hands-on learner. Yeah, Cornisha girl, I just feel I've been there. I'm not even gonna hold you. I've been there and I understand. And this is really one of the reasons why I don't really watch or consume homeschool content. Simply because, again, I am really not in the business of catering to a style of living that just don't suit me or my husband or my pockets. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, every homeschool curriculum out there is basically selling you a dream. We literally have taught more better piecing together our kids' curriculum versus going to an all-in-one set curriculum. It just don't work for us, and it doesn't work for our kids. Um, Vanita, you said thank you. It's definitely been great to meet and find homeschooling families that look like us. So true. Many groups are not welcoming. They're not. And the thing is when you want to be, like you literally go with your heart open to just meet people, and then you get there and like everybody's very standoffish, and like people just exclude you on purpose. It's just too much. And like this is not the environment that I feel is healthy or conducive for my kids to learn in. And so I've decided that I'm not one to ignore things. So I'm not going to sit here and ignore my child. I'm going to say something. I'm going to speak up, but it always comes off as if I'm being like confrontational. I'm not. I'm just calling out a wrong. And I don't like to sit around people who pretend like they don't see or know what they're doing. Like, don't call me stupid in my face. I'm going to just call it what it is. No, not too much of me. No, I ain't gonna hold you, girl. I understand. I was gonna say forget them people, cause I already know. Yes. So Fancy, you said homeschool is going great. We've had some challenges, but overall, it's been a blessing. We spend a lot of time outside. Yes, y'all. During the spring, we literally go outside with a blanket on the ground and we go homeschool out back. What I'm gonna do, because my kids are allergic to insect bites. So this year I'm gonna invest in a tent to like be able to zip up so that they're not like constantly, you know, getting bit by mosquitoes and stuff like that. Fancy, you said it's truly a Christ-centered perspective. Yes, that is helping me with this season of homeschooling. And like I said, each season gets easier and easier and easier. Honestly, it's who know. It's a who knows who. Yep. Oh, because Miss K actually live in my area, so she knows what I'm talking about. I've never been in a place because Tampa Bay is a melting pot of people. And when I tell you, you don't meet a stranger, every neighbor that we've had has been so loving, so welcoming. And we move up to this area, and I've never lived in a place where it's so, you see everybody, but everybody's very segregated in a way where they don't mingle with each other outside of work, or people don't mingle with each other like school. And it just blew my mind. I was like, am I in the twilight zone? Like, I feel like I'm like, am I the only one that's seeing this? And every time I've mentioned it to people, even in our community, in the community group on Facebook, there's like a community group that everybody's a part of. And it's like people get offended when I say it. And I'm like, well, and when someone else says it, I'm like, okay, so I'm not crazy. Like, okay, I'm glad that somebody else see it, because when you're moving into this area from an outside area, having had a completely different experience, and you're moving here and you're seeing things, and things are just like, oh, okay. So yeah, um, sounds like a dream. Quamisha, what sounds like a, oh, you mean being outside and homeschooling outside? It is a dream. I love it. I love it. I love, and there are days we go straight to the library and just homeschool there all day. You just have to do whatever you want to do. Get out the house. Your kids need to breathe. Oh, let's get out the house. Let's go homeschool at the park. Oh, let's go. Thank you, Miss K. Yeah, you says, no, you're not crazy. See, because I think you moved here from down south, South Florida. And so you want to go to the library, you want to go to the mall and homeschool, go to the mall and homeschool. You just want to, like, hey, we're going to take a day learning. You want to go to the aquarium? That's a homeschool day. We're going to have a field trip day. Whatever. Homeschooling, like when my daughter, she wants to learn how to bake. Oh, we can make that home ec. Let's learn how to bake. She's going to learn how to measure everything. Like, there's a learning experience in every single thing you could do with your kids. So do not just chop it up to just a curriculum, because yeah, be flexible, be as flexible as possible. There are days where we are sick that we do not homeschool at all. There are days where we miss a whole week of school because of something, whatever. Like, it is what it is. We have a full year to complete a curriculum, and we still have time to complete it. We can double up one week, take off another week. Like, you set the standard in the course of your day. Right. Now we're doing holiday homeschooling, and homemaking is intertwined with my homeschooling, and it resulted in whimsical home in a into a whimsical home with lots of home economics for the kids. One of the things I think Fancy loves to do, and she's trying to teach me how to do, is they'll go outside and they'll pick up like acorns and different types of leaves, and I'm like, oh, my kids don't like to be outside like that, but we can try it. Like, yeah, doing math while baking Christmas cookies. Yeah. Yeah, make it your thing. Make it your thing. So, um one of the things about homeschooling I think we need to do as the kids get older is learning, teaching them how to be more independent in their learning. Like, again, like I said, I'm at a place now that I cannot sit with my kids 24/7, and I honestly don't want to, because I have other things going on that I need to take care of. So sitting with them and setting the standard, say, hey, guess what, you have to read this on your own, you have to read this. We buy the reading comprehension workbooks from Amazon, where you get the paragraph. Remember back in the day, I don't even know if they do that still. And then you get to answer the questions, like the 4 questions, A, B, C, or D. Like, we have a whole book based on their grade for them to do that, from Amazon. And that book is literally like $4.99. $4.99. Ashley, You said, do you homeschool your youngest? And if you do, how do you create his curriculum? Like I said, I piece everything together. One of the things, I wish I could go get it. He has an actual homeschool curriculum book that we purchased for him for Christmas. Actually, in the description of this live, Ashley, I'm gonna list everything that we got for him that he's learning. We do almost 90% of our learning on YouTube, and then I want to say 10% hands-on, like him writing, coloring. He is, like I said, very advanced when it comes to science. He knows everything about the sun, the solar system, how, the times of the year, how flowers grow. Like, he is just that kid. So for Christmas, he has a telescope. I think not a telescope. Somebody help me in the comments where you can look at the planets. He has that. He has a actual Saturn planet with the rings. He knows how many rings are around Saturn. He knows, like, he tells us how far away from the sun Earth is. Like, he knows his stuff. And so we do not like piece together curriculum for him. For him, it's like he, yes, on Friday he did a full day of learning math, preschool math. And one of the preschool math channels that we do, I'm gonna just tell you right now and see if I can link it to the video. To This is called, the channel is called it's Preschool Prep Company. And where is it? There's one called Number Blocks. Preschool Prep number. It's Preschool Prep Company. Well, what my husband was explaining to me last night is that when he was on Telescope, thank you, um, planetarium, we go to the planetarium, Miss Carolyn. We do go there. So, you said, I'm so thankful for online classes and textbooks. Says yes. We do a mixture of both. So, Ashley, to answer your question really quick, last night we found out that timeforlearning.com is offering preschool curriculum right now. Let me link Time for Learning in here for you. So my husband asked me last night if it would be okay to go ahead and get him signed up, and I said, yeah, why not? I don't see a problem. I think it would be amazing for him. I think he would love it. So check out Time for Learning. My kids did Time for Learning for 2 years, 2017 through 2019, before we decided to take them off the internet because they were not mature enough to do homeschool on the internet. So they literally just got back on doing homeschool. Yeah, we love Number Blocks too. You have I didn't know they had toys. Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up. So with my oldest son, well, not my oldest son is grown and doing his own thing. But the 15-year-old, he does study.com, and they have a curriculum, K through 12 curriculum too, but he's in the 10th grade. And they also have where you could do dual enrollment. They have SAT, ACT classes. They literally have everything. And he can already, through study.com, he can get um, college credits right now, so he can go right into doing something for nursing, like anything tech related, because study.com is for adults as well. So they literally is the end all be all for everything. If I want to go back to school, I've considered going back to school through study.com. So check out study.com because I think y'all will really, really love it. Yeah, it's for adults and, kids. Now, we pay a good amount of money for him to go every month, but once we include dual enrollment next year, his 11th grade year, that amount is going to double, um, because He's going to be doing his regular school plus college. So it's going to be worth the investment. One of the things you have to decide is it worth it? Homeschooling requires from us as parents sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. You're going to see so many people that's going to talk to you about why you shouldn't homeschool and it's not healthy, the stigma around homeschool and the whatever. I don't care about nothing what nobody else say, because at the end of the day, nobody really. No, Ashley, can I just say, I don't know if you're saying you like ABC Mouse or not. You said, wait, we tried ABC Mouse and boo. Yes, yes, I hated it. We hated it. ABC Mouse is not a good thing to do with your kids. I do not care what nobody say. It is. I tried it 3 times, and I'm convinced ABC Mouse is a joke. It is a joke. Girl, I thought I was the only one that felt that way. Because when I would tell people, and I'm like, do y'all actually sit with y'all kids and do ABC Mouse? Because ain't it's not doing what it's supposed to do, I guess. And people rave about it. And I'm like, no, that ain't even a conversation I'm willing to have with certain people, because when people are set in their ways about something that they like and they think is working, there's no point in arguing or going back and forth with them. That's something I did learn. Um, so a lot of people didn't understand why we took our oldest son um, out of school in the middle of his high school experience, is because at the end of the day, this is what I really want people to understand about your children and their education, is that at the end of the day, it is your responsibility, not the school's responsibility, to make sure that they learn. And so once we found out that he was plagiarizing things and doing things that he knew he was not supposed to do, because hey, we're teaching you to be a man of integrity. Baby, the moment you got that girlfriend and you felt like you was just gonna be lackadaisical with your education, I will snatch your education, your access to your girlfriend, and your sports. And that's exactly what I did, and I don't regret it. I'm mentally preparing right now to deal with the comments, girl. Actually, don't even mentally prepare, but just shut them down and tell them you're gonna do what you want to do with your kids. That's just the end of the discussion. And the thing that I had to teach people is that when it comes to homeschooling, the conversation is is we can't have the conversation. Like, no. So you want to send your kids to school? Go ahead, do what you do. I have a lot of family members in education on all levels. And so if you do have a lot of family members in education on all levels, then they should be 100% open to you homeschooling their kids, because they know the system. They know the severity of the system. They know how good and bad the system is. And so if they're not there to support you in a positive way, then you should know. And you should know within the first few months that if they're going to be good for you or not. People don't understand that homeschooling looks different from the 70s and 80s and the 90s. Yep, we ain't running a prison. No, there are still consequences. Like right now, hold on. Zuriel! He's on his way. Because my daughter came up here and she brought me her phone before she started school. And Zuri, I have not seen him yet. Did you start school yet? Okay, I need your phone. So, yeah, the kids have to understand that there are rules. Good morning. There are rules and that they have to abide by the rules. I make them sign like little contracts about the rules. I make them read it out loud and make sure that they understand it if they have any questions, because I don't want, when I start flipping the script on y'all, to act like y'all don't know what y'all doing wrong, because they're good for that. They're good for acting like what did I do? So I told you last week that if I had to ask for the phone, you're not gonna see it for the whole day. I'm asking.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. All right. You can come get it when you're done with school. So yeah, yes, my family didn't support me homeschooling my kids, but I did not care because God told me to bring my babies home. Exactly. Do be obedient to what God told you to do. Yeah, I knew he was gonna say that, girl. And it's fine. Again, the rule is I don't want to have to remind you. I don't want to have to ask you what are you doing or what work you've completed so far. If I see him up and down and doing all these other things, like I'm going to ask. If I have to ask, it's going to be a problem. So, yeah. How do you measure success when your kids are in school? My husband does all the grades for the kids. We literally just make sure we wait. I definitely shut down negative family comments over Thanksgiving. Amen. My mama used to be so good about trying to test the like when she's having conversations with them in the beginning. Like, what do they learn? What are you learning? Like little condescending things, and I would be like, y'all don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer that. I know what they're learning. They're fine. Like if you're doing that for me to prove a point or for you to try to prove a point that they're not learning anything, then this is not a conversation we can have. I was just telling my husband something about parents when they don't see things being done the way that they think it should be done. It's all respect, right? But please understand that the respect goes both ways. Don't undermine me and my husband and what we're choosing to do with our kids. Like, just don't do that. You have to. Even being a stay at home mom or a homemaker, you have to shut down those comments across the board. Yes, girl, they'll be fine. Just show up to the graduation, okay? Show up to the graduation. You know, be present on their first day of college. Be there because then you'll understand that we ain't over here just playing and shooting the breeze. Yeah, once my mom asked like the 100th time, like, what do you do all day? What do you do? Like if I'm not at her beck and call when she called because I'm not working a traditional job, I had to shut that down too. So yeah. So I'll be putting some questions in the description. I will be sharing the different curriculums that we are doing with Zuri channels, Amazon products. Everything will be down in the description for you in this live. Also, some questions. I feel like if you want to homeschool your kids and you just have questions, I will put some good resources of people that you can follow to get all your questions answered or to just feel safe because I don't feel like people make the option to homeschool your kids safe. The first couple of years I became a stay at home mom, everybody asked when was I going back to work and what do I do all day? Yep, I work. I just don't work traditionally outside the house. And so it's like, here's what I had to say, Quamisha, and not in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying it, reiterating it here. It's like if we've never come to you one time and asked you for one penny, not one thing, right? So me going back to work, ask me that if I asked you to help me pay a bill. And if I ain't asking you for money to help me live this life that I'm living, then you got to understand that we good over here. We're fine. Life is great. Now, the answer is I take care of my husband and family. Yeah, I don't even say that. I don't even say that because even in that, there's going to be a response. Like, I'm just, whatever come to my mind, I'm being honest. And I think now it's been so long that people don't even come to me anymore because of the way that I would shut down the conversation. This is not debatable. This is not something that, this is not even your concern. what I'm doing. Guess who's in agreement with what I'm doing? God and my husband. People just downright stopped asking me because when they realized that I wasn't going to give them the response that they wanted or what they thought I was doing all day. Now the issue right now is that I'm on YouTube. That's a problem. I don't care. You don't have to watch me. I didn't ask you to be here. You don't have to like it. I set my standards. I set my own boundaries. Or say, or I say, well, I'm taken care of. Yeah. My husband told me the other day, Keisha, you don't have to worry about ever working another job a day in your life as long as my kids are being raised upright. And I have to accept that if he ain't pushing me to go out to do nothing, I ain't worried or stressed to go out and do it. Because at the end of the day, what we're doing it together. And I know my husband was raised by good people, and he's not stingy. He don't even consider what he's doing is what my husband does for work. Literally, the epitome of what he does is literally a ministry for him. So not only is he doing ministry in his everyday job, him having and taking care of his family is also ministry for him. So he doesn't see it as a loss. He see it as uh what he was called to do. And so he does it effortlessly and without complaint. And so you'll notice that a lot of men always want to talk about what you bring to the table. We don't even have those conversations. When he be like, "Are you going to pay for it or am I going to pay for it?" And then he have to start laughing. It's coming from the same account. So why? The last time someone what asked me was 12 years ago. People don't even ask anymore. No, 2020 spoke for itself. Amen. Yes, my husband works with college students. Um, so it's a ministry for us, and it's so important that we're on one accord because all of this is ministry work. It is. My husband is in he is in affordable housing, not Section 8, because that's what everybody think affordable housing is. He has a degree in architecture, urban planning. He has a master's in real estate. He really wanted to. His dream job was to write policy for HUD for the whole U.S. But he's doing that for the entire state of Florida. So he is very much so making sure that equality in housing across the board for everybody. So he doesn't work for the like government, like the local governments. He works with all of them all in one. So his ministry is to make sure that the homeless people are off the street. It just goes beyond what people think affordable housing is. So that's his ministry. That's what he was called to, being in all the communities and making sure that everybody gets the same access, and they can become homeowners if they want to be, and all the things, and making sure that affordable, what is it called? Like apartments and stuff are built affordably so that everybody can have opportunities to live in nice housing. So that's what he loves. When everyone had to stay home, they got to see what we are. Yep, you're right. And people be like, "Oh, you homeschool?" I was like, "Y'all, I was homeschooling years before COVID. Years before COVID. So we're not homeschooling because of COVID. That's so when people were falling out because they were like, you're going all crazy about homeschooling their kids and during COVID. I was looking at them like they had two or three heads. I was like, y'all all right? Yes, we home and we love being home. We love having the freedom to do what we want when we want. When it comes to schooling, travel, work, everything. I was hollering and I was like, these people are mad. People was mad. The kids were mad. I felt more bad for the kids because you knew when kids were being mistreated during COVID because their parents were mistreating them just out of pure frustration. And I would have to rescue some kids. Like, y'all come to my house and eat a meal, or, these parents are off their rocker. All right, you guys, I am out of time. Zoran already did his schoolwork this morning, or his learning time this morning. I was literally in the middle of my power hour when I had to stop and do schoolwork with him. I am going to finish up my power hour. I am vlogging today, so that's why I got to cut this short so I can get back on my grind. I hope that I will actually tag the video, today's video, and later once it's over in this description, and I'll kind of cross reference the two. Unpopular opinion, but I think the parents just don't like their kid. I agree, but hey, I love mine. I'll stand 10 toes down for mine. Anybody. The moment I feel like my kids are being favored, mistreated, even by family, y'all got to go. You don't get to just, like, being around my children is a privilege. Having being in their life is a privilege. And you will get a revolt card the moment you start acting up. Like, I love my kids. And I'm not gonna let nobody mistreat them or talk to them no kind of way. Now, when you're grown, handle your business. Because I was also where the community, the neighborhood moms raised me. When they are not doing right, I 100% agree with them being corrected and checked. Privilege. I am privileged to be my kids' mother. I am honored to be their mother. Enjoy your day, everyone. Yes, be blessed. Amen. Be blessed, you guys. And tomorrow we are going to be talking about how you can come home to raise your family and still make money and do all the things without feeling like you're sacrificing having to work an actual job outside the house and you miss on all the important things in your kids' lives. See y'all tomorrow.